everyone, and welcome back to All My Best Friends Are Digital, your podcast about video games and the stories they tell. With me, returned from the dead, or at least the burdens of illness, Caitlin Bailey. How you doing, Caitlin?
I am wonderful. How about you, Mark?
I'm very well. I have to assume that you were restored to health by the firm belief in you on the part of our listeners, very much like Tinkerbell's clapping brought her back from the dead. I can only assume that it is the digital friends out there that brought you back.
Yes. Pretty close.
Splendid. It all checks out. So we're going to be talking about video games today. We're going to be talking about what we've been playing lately. We're going to be talking about a retro game in our Gaming Opinions on Old School Funware segment, GOOF, specifically Clock Tower for the Super Nintendo. We are then going to be talking about our feature game, which is The Witcher 3. Maybe you've heard of it. And then we're going to close things out with some shameless hyping of upcoming titles, aka Shout. So, Caitlin, what have you been playing lately?
Okay, so I have been playing Quantum Witch. I think I learned about Quantum Witch from Mark, and it was like $5. So I was like, well, I can't not buy and play that. So I did. I played the demo, and I, in fact, actually stopped playing the demo early because I was like, this game feels like it's up my alley. I'm going to just buy Quantum Witch and, go through with the beginning of the game. One cool thing is my progress. Like, I started a brand new game, but some of the stuff that I unlocked, there's things called waveforms in Quantum Witch, which are like achievements, except there's not achievements for Quantum Witch. But I had all of those unlocked in the main game, the ones that I had done in the demo, so I thought that was cool. Of course, there was one for petting the cats.
Of course.
Of course.
So tell me everything. I downloaded the demo a long time ago, but I've never gotten around to trying it. I've been very curious.
Yeah, so it's... It feels a little difficult to describe.
Well, I have bad news for what's expected of you, Caitlin.
It's a very choice-driven game. So honestly, I was trying to look up some stuff about Quantum Witch to try to figure out how to better describe, but there's not a whole lot out there because it's a very indie game. It's made by a single developer, NikkiJay, and I don't even know fully how it works, except beyond what people have posted online, which may or may not be true. But anyway, so Quantum Witch is the story of Ren, and Ren is a woman who lives in this little world. She has her bonded one. There's a lot of other people there. Everyone in her town appears to be women, and I believe that they reproduce through I don't know, whatever it is where you don't need to have a dude involved. It's very Mass Effect.
Whatever it is.
It's very Mass Effect with a
that thing where there's no dudes, but there's reproduction. I think you're talking, like, you were already in the realm of science fiction or fantasy here. There's no version where that doesn't I
think in nature, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Because, like, the child is still, I don't know, it's probably closer to a sorry. Because the child is not identical to either one of the parents. And
I can't believe I have to go into this. So there's sexual reproduction and then there's asexual reproduction. You're saying it's asexual reproduction, right?
Well, I don't know, though. They're very unclear. There's a bathhouse. There's a bathhouse, and you go there when you want to make a baby, but they don't really allude to what happens there, other than that the main character finds it a little embarrassing.
How much of this occupies the game? Are we making a mountain out of a molehill? Or okay.
So anyway, it's a story of Ren, and the very first thing that happens is Ren's fair get out. It's Faer. They look like sheep, so you go find all the sheep. It's a very first quest in a video game quest going on, but eventually some stuff happens, and you get magic, and that magic. The magic in Quantum Witch is cool. It lets you kind of interact with stuff that is normally in the background. So in the it's 2D side scrolling. So in the foreground you might just have a couple buildings, maybe some grass. In the background maybe there's a tower and there's some platforms on the tower with doors. And normally you couldn't get to them, but you can activate your magic. And when you activate your magic, you're able to jump up on those platforms that can allow you to get to places that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get to. There is a combat tutorial where they teach you how to fight But as far as I know, you never actually get into fisticuffs with anybody. But you can punch things every now and then to, like, break something or activate something. So anyway, it's very neat. There's a lot of different branching parts of the story. I have already played, I think I fully played it through 4 times.
Oh, wow.
The first playthrough maybe took around 2 hours, maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours. And then all the subsequent playthroughs were much faster. Mostly because when you get into dialogue, you can just hold down, well, it's the A button on the Xbox. You can hold down the bottom face button, and it'll skip all of the dialogue. There's a bunch of stuff that can't be skipped, which is a little annoying, but I'll forgive them. It's just such a weird game. But one of the things that I thought was the most fascinating was that the developer, NikkiJay, talks about how she grew up in a cult.
Oh,
and
okay.
how Quantum Witch kind of has helped her with, like, I don't know, she's brought a lot from her life into Quantum Witch. There is, in fact, a cult in Quantum Witch. One of the very first things you'll do is you can go visit the church to the Great Shade, which looks like a giant lampshade, and you can choose what to do with the cult. It's fascinating. It's really difficult to describe.
The Church of the Great Shade sounds like an excellent religion for drag queens, and every sermon is just a series of insults.
You do sit through one sermon, but after the first few sentences, you just see blah 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 blah. But it's delightful. I really enjoy Quantum Witch's sense of humor. I highly recommend. So first of all, Quantum Witch is very cheap, so you could just pick it up for pretty cheap. But there's also a demo, so it's completely worth just picking up the demo and seeing if the sense of humor vibes with you. And if it is, I think you should play it, because Quantum Witch is it's a neat little title and feels perfect for just being, a indie game solo developer thing.
So the fact that you've been moved to replay it several times is, I think, a high vote of confidence. The trailer seems to indicate that it's one of those, choices really matter, and there's lots of different things that can happen. Is that why you've been replaying? Because you want to see different outcomes?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the ending that I stumbled into for my first playthrough.
Sure.
But I've been having fun trying different things. There's one rather large segment in the middle where you visit another world and you come face to face with that world's god.
Is it a giant light bulb?
It is not a giant light bulb. But I was unhappy with how that whole part turned out because I didn't feel I made good choices. And
sure.
This is one of the first times where me trying to do what I thought was the right thing, I felt like kept blowing up in my face.
Right.
So it was exciting to play through and try a few different paths to get through that town, or through that world, really.
Because I've been saying several times over the course of the show that if you want to tell me that the game admits of lots of replays because you're going to want to see how different things turn out, the biggest offender of this, I think, as far as I'm concerned, is I was a teenage exocolonist. It's like, yeah, sure, fine, but a given playthrough is 15 hours. I'm not going to go through multiple playthroughs of that because I want to see slightly different contours about how much sports ball I played.
Yeah.
And if you tell me it's only like 90 minutes to 2 hours, that's an entirely different proposition.
Yeah, and that's only your first playthrough. You should be able to do the others in maybe 30 minutes. It's very fast.
Sweet. I mean, I'm more curious than ever, if for no other reason than I still have zero conception of the gameplay loop. It sounds like Quantum Witch seems to defy description. It simultaneously is and is not a great many things.
Yeah, and like there's some things that I'm afraid to say because I don't know if they would actually count as being spoilers. I think it's just
sure.
It's a game that is best experienced.
Fair enough. That's legit. I'll even forgive you for not reacting to my quantum pun.
Sorry, I just let that go right through me.
Like quantum particles do. Hey,
oh. What have you been up to, Mark?
So, at long last, I've been able to try Neon Inferno. This is a game I shouted out a while ago after playing the demo, and it crossed my radar because it is published by the same people who published Iron Meat, which is a run-and-gun indie game that I thoroughly enjoyed. And Neon Inferno is also a run-and-gun, but it's a very different kind of style of game. For one thing, it is much less Contra-like in its direct inspirations. I mean, Iron Meat was very much Contra with the serial numbers filed off. Up to and including, need I remind you, the way that you jump. Anybody who knows the way you jump in Contra, you don't get to that by accident. It's just ridiculous. Neon Inferno, it occurred to me that it's been a while since I've insta-bought a game the day that it was available on release, other than Dispatch. Other than that, it's a rare occurrence. I'm largely a Game Pass kind of guy. I install a lot of games day one on Game Pass, that's true, but insta-buys very seldom, and Neon Inferno was one of them, even though this is like a $20 indie game, which again is just past the realm of impulse buy as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. So, the reason why I was so captivated by the demo is because it involves two different kinds of running and gunning. So there's the sort of side-scrolling, Contra-esque, platform-based running and gunning, but then there's also a style of gameplay called the shooting gallery. So my first exposure to this is me flexing my OG credentials, Caitlin. My first exposure to this was the arcade game Cabal in 1988, where you have your figure, and what they're doing is they're shooting into the background, and you move the reticle. As you move side to side, as you move the reticle side to side, your character moves from side to side. As you go up and down, that's just moving the reticle up and down. And typically you've got a jump button as well as a shot button and maybe a bomb you can throw and what have you. This is also in the arcade game Blood Brothers, which is slightly better known than Cabal, but by the same people. And there's the Neo Geo game. Have to mention the Neo Geo version, because the Neo Geo version, of course, is the one you should try, called NAM 1975. It was a launch title. And also the Super Nintendo game Wild Guns from 94, which a lot of people really like. More recently, there was a game called Bot Vice, which was somewhat similar. I mentioned this because it's one of TechDweeb's favorite games, and he's always showing it off in his videos. And it's a similar kind of thing. It's not exactly a lot of the conventions of what's called a shooting gallery style game, but nonetheless it is very similar. And what Neon Inferno does is it merges these two forms of gameplay really seamlessly, and it's quite a joyous thing to do. So you've got enemies that are in the foreground and you shoot them normally, but you've also got enemies in the background, and for them you hit a different fire button, and that kind of activates shooting gallery mode.
Okay.
And you're swapping back and forth all the while, dodging stuff and running and jumping. And the environments are really well done. There's this really exceptionally well done sequence in the first level where you're on a bike and you have a button that allows you to switch from being in the foreground to the background, and you're dodging cars, all the while modulating your fire modes, because whether you're firing into the background or not changes based on what lane your bike is occupying.
Okay.
I was a little worried when the level started out that it might be a little bit cumbersome, but no, it feels seamless and it's really good. You get in that zone and it's super engaging. The graphics are really cool. I'm not 100% sure about the character design. The character design of the female protagonist is definitely too sexualized. And both characters are a little more bedazzled than I've liked. Now, granted, this is a shooter game, but I'm going to use a fighting game standard. I'm gonna propose a new kind of metric, a new kind of scale, and I hope this takes off, Caitlin.
Okay.
It is going to be called the Ryu to Shunei scale. On one end, you've got Ryu, dude in a karate gi, straightforward.
Yeah.
The only visual element, really, is like he has a red bandana on his forehead. Ooh, yes. Slow down. Now, yeah, he's got other costumes, of course, and yeah, exactly. Iconic, but not what you would necessarily call visually interesting. Right?
Yeah.
Not super detailed or full of character or personality. On the other end, you have Shunei, who's the protagonist of the later King of Fighters games. And this is a guy who needs to do the trick in front of the mirror where you turn around real quick and take off the first accessory you see about 17 times before he's going to hit the streets. That guy has been hit upside the head with the accessories baton way too many times, and he's probably got several concussions from it. If you haven't seen him before, just look up Shunei King of Fighters and you'll see what I'm talking about. He is very much overdone. And I'm going to say that the protagonists of Neon Inferno, they're not quite all the way to the Shunei end of the scale, but they're definitely closer to Shunei than Ryu. I don't know where the ideal sweet spot is. Probably somewhere near the middle. I don't know. But there's a lot going on in these characters. They've got a lot of little bedazzled and little visual details on their clothing. Are you looking at Shunei? I
am. So the man has either a jacket or a cape. I honestly can't tell which one it is.
It is a jacket. It's a school uniform jacket, but his arms aren't in the school uniform jacket.
Got it. A tie, headphones for some reason, and a little chain thingy hanging from his belt.
A big beaded wallet chain, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like gloves as well as arm wraps.
Gloves are different colors as well as arm wraps. Yeah, keep going.
One
What color is his hair, Caitlin?
Is up for some reason. Blue.
Yep. Yeah, Shune, he goes on for days. This is too much. And this is even setting aside the piping, the color clashing, the patterns, the embroidery. It's just all over the place. Shune is way too much. And especially when compared to other SNK designs, like King, or Terry Bogard, or even K-Dash, or whatever. Like, these are very, very good character designs that are characteristic and iconic and full of personality, and don't look like he fell on top of a hot glue gun and then rolled around in a Mary Claire's for 7 years.
Right.
Anyhow.
There's like a difference between character design that is... they designed this character to look like they belong in a video game, and they designed this character to look like a person.
Yeah. I have a pet theory.
What's that?
This is so much about digression now. We're so far deep, whatever. Shune was designed by a manga artist.
Okay.
Right? And I have a theory that when manga artists get hired to work on video games, they say, wait, you mean I don't have to redraw the same design every time in every panel?
Yes.
You mean it just gets rendered once and that's it? Oh, wow. And they just lose control.
I'm going for it.
Because if you look at the kind of characters that are in mainstream manga that are running right now, they are comparatively vastly simpler. Some of them almost comically so. Like, if you look at the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, he's a dude wearing black. That's his thing. That's him. That's the character. And I have to assume part of it is because the manga art is like, oh, geez, how many times am I going to have to draw this guy? Mm-hmm. So, anyway... Neon Inferno, the character designs are a little bit too far on the Shune end of the axis. The big difficulty I'm having with Neon Inferno, I'm enjoying it, it's fun, but the difficulty is very, very miscalibrated, because this is one of those instances, happens all the time, and I know that it happens with other people, where, X is too easy, but X plus 1 is way too hard in terms of the difficulty levels, and so you never really feel comfortable. For me, in Neon Inferno, normal is way too easy, hard is way too hard.
Okay.
I started out on hard because I wanted a challenge, and I like these kinds of games. It's not that I think that I'm pretty good, it's just that I figure, okay, these games can be too short, and I want to savor this. I'd like to, bash my head against a brick wall for a little. The problem is that it's not just that there are more enemies, and it's not just that they're more aggressive, and that the projectiles move faster, and that you have less health. The final thing that makes it intolerable, and you'll see gameplay footage for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I do the hard, level 1 on hard mode several times, is that they are extremely cheap with their checkpoints. And consequently, I would get to the boss and half my life would be gone. And it's about shaving off that extra little marginal bit of efficiency and then hoping that you're able to beat the boss. And the bosses have multiple stages and the whole thing, and the boss encounters are great, don't get me wrong. But then having to start back at the beginning of a long level stretch, it was just too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I switched to normal, whatever, and I figured, okay, looking charitably, I'll beat it on normal, and then that way I'll be able to replay it on hard and appreciate that. Because I replayed a lot of the levels in Iron Meat. Iron Meat did a very good job of calculating the difficulty level. They gave you just the right number of lives, so that you couldn't do it your first way through. You probably couldn't do it your second or third, but you would get slightly better, and you'd get there, and you'd see visible progress. Mm-hmm. Neon Inferno on normal is way too easy in comparison. Fewer enemies, that are less aggressive, the projectiles move less, you have more health, and the checkpoints are right before you died. Hard with the checkpoint structure of normal, or indeed hard with any one element of normal. I don't know, take your pick. Would have made me very happy. If there was some ability to customize the difficulty levels, I would be thrilled. As it is, however, I'm still nonetheless having a great time with Neon Inferno. It looks great, it plays great, it is a novel spin on decades-old run-and-gun conventions. It drops the ball entirely when it comes to power-ups, but that's fine, just the core gameplay is good enough. It's just, other than that difficulty, it's possible that this is one of those games that was meant to be played co-op. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much. I've watched a couple of videos of people playing co-op. It looks like the levels don't change all that much when you're playing co-op, so maybe the intent is to play with 2 players. But that's just speculation on my part. Anyway, if you like run and guns, Neon Inferno is great. There's a demo available as well. Go check it out. I do not regret the purchase, although I do wish that the difficulty were better calibrated. It's been a great time so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing to bash my head against the wall of Neon Inferno.
Nice. Neon Inferno really has a sense of style that I enjoy. Despite, yes, the characters are a little much, but
Yeah.
the art is really pretty.
It is, and it's not necessarily consistent, like, thematically and tonally, the game is all over the place. Like, you're supposed to be a mafia assassin, but it's like a near-future mafia assassin, and you're fighting the Yakuza, and the Yakuza don't look like Yakuza, and the Mafia doesn't look like Mafia, and it's a whole grab bag of different stuff. And visually, it mostly works, because science fiction, we're accustomed to a whole bunch of weird cultural ideas ripped out of their context and slapped together, because the author thought they're cool. That's fine. It's just, I mostly just ignore the cutscenes, because, you go as the Mafia hitman, and the Don tries to talk to you about gang business, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Get me to the running and or gunning, please.
Yeah. Also, so both of the main characters, both of the playable characters are hitmen?
Yes, they're both assassins who work for the Italian mob.
Okay, I gotta say, the female main character does not look like she's trying to blend in.
Well, neither of them look especially stealth. But yes, was it the bright pink heart earrings that was the detail that sent it over the edge there? Or?
Yeah, the big heart earrings. She's got, like, this big blonde ponytail, her white coat.
Like I said, there is a Ryu to Shunei scale.
Yeah.
And they are far too close to the Shunei end of the scale. So that is Neon Inferno. We will now move on to our gaming opinions on old school funware GOOF with Clock Tower. Clock Tower was designed by Human Entertainment. I'm very fond of this. When you subcontract hippos out to make your video games, the results don't tend to be very good. It was released for the Super Nintendo, aka the Super Famicom, as they call it in Japan, in 1995. It was not localized to the American Super Nintendo or indeed the European Super Nintendo, but there were versions for the PlayStation in 97 as well as for Windows, and I'd forgotten about this one, the Wonder Swan. Do you know anything about the Wonder Swan, Caitlin?
I have no experience with the Wonder Swan. I only know that it existed.
Yeah, it was a Bandai handheld gaming console that had a bunch of really cool things. It was the last project of Gunpei Yokoi before he died, sadly. And indeed, like every other handheld experiment of the 90s and early 21st century, it was ground under the heel of Nintendo and they didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Such is the nature of things. I've never Wonder Swanned myself, but I've always looked at it and marveled at some of its clever ideas. And it had a somewhat interesting, albeit anemic, library. Anyway, so Clock Tower is a point-and-click adventure game. Caitlin, why don't you tell us what happens in Clock Tower?
Yeah, so I didn't realize this was point and click with a controller, which I hate, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough. But Clock Tower is the story of Jen. So she's an orphan. She goes to an orphanage. Some of her other fellow orphans and herself have all been adopted by somebody in this mysterious mansion. And you go there with your caretaker. Yeah, it's great. And they're like, wow, this house is so big. And then your caretaker goes to go find your adoptive dad, and she kind of disappears, and you and the other girls are like, that's weird. And then you leave to go find her, and then you hear a scream from the other room, you run back, everyone's gone, the lights are out, it looks scary, and then you get to start your playthrough of Clock Tower. So yeah, it's point and click. You walk at a glacial pace.
Yes.
It's so slow. I was like, oh my god, girl. And you can run by, like, double tapping I don't know if it's I think the interact button. If you double tap that, you'll run. Also not particularly fast, but it's better than the walk, so that's fine.
In particular, watching Jen run up and down stairs is hilarious because she's doing her run animation, but it looks like she takes 2 steps for every step she goes up the staircase.
Yes.
And I'm like, what are you doing? This is absurd.
Yeah. What is happening here? Yeah, so my first playthrough, I kind of wandered back, couldn't find anybody in that main foyer. So I turned around, I ended up in some bedroom, and there was a mirror, and I was like, ooh, interact with the mirror. And then something grabbed me from inside the mirror, and I died. And I was like, oh.
Sounds legit.
Cool. So restarted, and then my next playthrough, I just wander into a room, and Scissorhands dude, oh, what's his name? Scissorman. He, falls down, stabbing his scissors into one of my orphanage buddies, and then starts chasing me.
It's how
and
he do.
Yeah, I hid in the bathroom and I died because he got in, even though I locked the door. It was great because he went like Jack Nicholson from The Shining on the door and just broke it open.
Solid reference.
And then I used the guide because I was like, okay, I would like to see more of this, more of Clock Tower before I die. And my next playthrough ended when I was supposed to use some pesticide on a meat closet or meat freezer or something, but I didn't realize that I was supposed to use it before I attempted to interact with it, so a bunch of cockroaches came out and killed me. And yeah, that sums up some of my experiences.
I have some questions for you, Caitlin.
Yes.
I'm beginning to suspect that you've been gaslighting me for years because you have expressed a general disinterest in being scared and various horror properties.
Yeah.
So I was playing Clock Tower, and I'm like, okay, this Jennifer protagonist looks an awful lot like Jennifer Connelly, circa Labyrinth.
Big time.
Dead ringer. Like, this can't be accidental. And then, of course, I start doing my due diligence. And it turns out that Clock Tower was heavily inspired by the director's love of giallo cinema. And I'm like, oh, Caitlin has been serving just as a vector for her husband's enthusiasm for giallo cinema this entire time. I have been, as the youth say, punked. Are you willing to admit your subterfuge now?
No, I am not.
So giallo cinema, for those that don't know, is a particular kind of Italian horror that was very prominent in the 70s and 80s. Just to situate myself, I'm the kind of person who likes movies and knows a little bit about what the film buffs are talking about, but I'm not into the stuff that the film buffs are talking about, right? So if you start talking about giallo cinema, I know what you're talking about. I get the reference. I might even be able to mention some of the hallmarks of giallo cinema, but I don't want to watch them. I don't find them interesting. My tastes are comparatively more mainstream. I've got a friend who said, well, Mark, you have to understand, I'm a cinephile. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you identify yourself as a cinephile, you and I are approaching movies in radically different ways. Like, for one thing, I call them movies. I do not call them films. All right? Sure, no shade on people that do. It's just that's not where I'm coming from. And I had thought, Caitlin, that you were with me, not with your husband, with respect to these things. It turns out I may have been wrong because it was you that suggested Clock Tower.
Yeah.
And you were the one who are trying to introduce giallo cinema into our lovely little podcast about fun games where you run around and jump on mushrooms.
I've seen Suspiria, and that's it.
Yeah. The original or the remake?
I saw both because Chris wanted me to see both.
You admit it. You're one of them.
Oh.
Okay, apparently there was a 1985 giallo film, Phenomenon, starring Jennifer Connelly. So this isn't Jennifer Connelly circa Labyrinth. This is Jennifer Connelly circa Clock Tower. Because it's basically just a straight... I don't know what happens in Phenomenon. I don't think there's a misshapen boy with oversized scissors that comes and chases them. I don't know. And let me tell you what's more, I don't care. But... All that I want to do is, because the thing about giallo cinema, horror is hard to do well, all right? Both in video games and in film. Because you have to be able to maintain the peaks and valleys of tension and release that is characteristic of horror movies. And a lot of them just fail and go too far on one end or the other, right? Like, you don't necessarily want to make Freddy versus Jason or Alien versus Predator or something. You don't want to make it pro wrestling. Again, no shade on pro wrestling, but it's a different kind of thing. Pro wrestling has a different attitude towards maintaining and dissolving tension than good horror does. But by the same token, a lot of giallo and independent horror that I've seen errs too far the other side, and you have 45 solid minutes of people wandering around in the woods. It's like, you can make that tense. I mean, hell, Blair Witch Project managed to make that pretty scary. But even then, you have to acknowledge that there are periods of the Blair Witch Project where you're looking down, you watch and saying, we're going to move on, we're going to do something here. And I say this to contextualize Clock Tower, because the fear to tedium spectrum is way off.
Yeah.
In part because of how incredibly slowly Jen moves. It is quite striking. Because, yeah, you can run everywhere. Even then, she's not going very fast. The thing that kills it for me, the thing that just brings it over the edge, is if you want her to interact with something, usually what happens is she'll go on sort of the x-axis from side to side, and then she'll walk into the background. And the walking into the background is just that extra little level of delay. I played it on emulation, Caitlin. I turned on fast forward and turned off the volume so I didn't hear the garbled music. Music's pretty good, actually. But even then, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, and I was also taken aback when during one of my attempts, Jennifer's running around everywhere, and I was like, why is my health low? And that's because apparently it uses up your stamina. So it reduces your health when you run a lot.
I did not know that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you need to rest in order to bring it back up.
Okay, and that part's fine. I actually, to be entirely frank, some of the jump scares I thought were pretty effective. Like that moment you talked about when you look in the mirror, I thought that was pretty spooky. And okay, and the music's pretty good. The atmospherics aren't bad for the first few seconds. And then, rather than paying attention to the music and the atmospheric, you're paying attention to Jen's leisurely stroll. Yeah. And that's the trick. You can't ever break the tension with tedium. You can't do that. Sometimes you can kind of ride that line. Like survival horror, for example, does this all the time with, like, ammo restrictions. Mm-hmm. Part of that can be about inducing tension. Part of that is about, like, accountancy. And you're always riding that line, right? But, oh geez, Clock Tower. Impressive that they got it done on the Super Nintendo.
Yes, that's for sure. I think that Clock Tower would have been really fun if Jen were faster. I think I would have enjoyed it significantly more. First of all, doesn't need to be a point and click exactly. I think if you'd been able to walk around and interact with things more like you do in like a modern like walking simulator.
Sure, yeah.
That would have been more fun. But just if her pace could be better controlled, I think Clock Tower would have been significantly more fun, and I would have been willing to sink more time in it. All that said, I was so glad that there was a quick start mechanism so that you can skip the whole intro. What I don't love is that quick start is the second item on the menu, so if you're just like, oh, I just died, slamming the confirm button, you'll start you'll start with the full intro cutscene, which is not fast.
No, it's not. So, I mean, I'm not surprised I wasn't super into Clock Tower because point-and-click adventure games I didn't like even during their heyday.
Yeah.
In the early to mid-90s. And it's kind of impressive that they managed to execute it technically on the Super Nintendo. It looks great. Mm-hmm. There's some semi-digitized stuff. The sound design is wonderful.
Yeah.
And when they're evoking tension, they're doing a great job. And the first time I encountered Scissorman, I was like, oh, no, gotta get out of here. And then every subsequent time it was happening during these semi-scripted events, I was like, oh, Jen, just open the door.
Yeah.
And the longer he's on screen, the more ridiculous he looks, frankly. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, I found it a super interesting historical document.
Yeah.
But as a game, I did not enjoy it much.
Yeah, and I guess to take my statement of thinking it would be fun a little further, the part I enjoy about horror in general is generally the stories. I like to know what happens, how it happens, why it happens, like figuring out the mystery. I probably would not have fun playing Clock Tower without a guide, having to figure out, oh yeah, you have to use the pesticide on that thing before you open it. And, you need to have special item A in order to do whatever B. You need to make sure that you have enough health before you open the stupid bird cage.
Standard point-and-click adventure game logic.
Yeah, that is not fun to me. It's going through the story is fun to me. So I would only have fun with a guide, probably.
You say you like horror, and yet I had to twist your arm to watch something by Mike Flanagan, the contemporary master of horror-adjacent stuff.
That was great. Midnight Mass was perfect. And
yeah, skip Clock Tower, watch something by Mike Flanagan instead.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Clock Tower. We're going to take a brief break for some ads, and we'll be right back. And we are back.
Woo!
We're going to talk about The Witcher 3 by CD Projekt Red. I keep forgetting. It's so hard. Okay, people talk about The Witcher 3 all the time. I was borderline shocked when I was reminded that it came out in 2015.
Yeah.
It's a 10-year-old game.
I know.
Part of the reason why it maintains its currency is that some people just never stop playing it. And also because they did a total graphics overhaul about 4 years ago, where they completely redid the engine and offered it as an upgrade for contemporary stuff. It doesn't look quite like a contemporary AAA game, but it's awfully close.
It looks good.
This is, as you might expect, the third Witcher game by CD Projekt Red. Each Witcher game has been simultaneously very similar and yet radically different from each other. So this is important for context. Caitlin and I, for a variety of times in our lives, were operating under the misapprehension that if you're going to play The Witcher 3, you got to finish Witchers 1 and 2, which is what we call a burden. And this is one of the reasons why I waited so long to try The Witcher 3. I was finally prompted to abandon this albatross around my neck, because I played 5 hours of The Witcher 2. It's a miracle that I made it through the first Witcher. The first Witcher is ridiculously mediocre and silly and strange and buggy.
It's
and
so
awful.
Dated and it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's got some things that I guess are okay, but whatever. It's weird. And so I was playing The Witcher 2, and I was finding it a bit of a drag. And the thing that finally convinced me to abandon the need to play Witcher 2, this is both a good news, bad news situation. This was pointed out to me by my friend TechDweeb. He's like, I'll give you a minor spoiler, and you're going to feel liberated after I tell you. And he was exactly right. The Witcher does not care what you did in previous games. The contempt that the Witcher series has for its previous games is palpable. It is so dismissive of anything you might have thought or done or wanted to have happen in previous games. So The Witcher 1, I was actually vaguely pleased. One of the things that I liked about it was the way that the end game shook out and what happened at the end and the choices that I made with respect to what Geralt did and blah, blah, blah. The Witcher 2 is like, no. Big middle finger straight to my face about that. It's like, no, that never happened. That didn't work. We'll include a paragraph somewhere about how what you thought was going to happen didn't happen. Okay, fine. I'm like, all right. And then, like Charlie Brown charging for the football, I'm like, well, I got to play through Witcher 2, so I set up things for the... No. Witcher 3 gives a big fat middle finger about a character you never met. She mentioned a couple times, she's the most important thing ever. And you just didn't know that because you were busy playing The Witcher 2, and F you. It don't matter. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Seriously? This is... I realize that it's hard to adapt things, right?
Yeah.
And they involved, my least favorite plot contrivance, the plot convenient main character amnesia to account... Because in the books, he doesn't have amnesia. In the books, he remembered what he did before that. But they're like, okay, well, what if we just kind of give him amnesia so the backstory... So people get to reintroduce themselves in the middle of the video game. Whatever, guys. There's better ways to do this. There's less clumsy ways to get this done. Okay, I've got other complaints. You want to hear other complaints?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, there are technical problems. The pillar boxing on ultra-wide monitors is glitched out like crazy, so you have to turn them off, which, thank goodness they involved that option. Previously, what you had to do was you had to use a hex editor on the executable in order for that problem to go away. So thankfully, that's been introduced in the past couple of years. I don't understand why horse people like this game, because the horse riding is not smooth, and your horse will come to a dead stop when faced with a 1-foot-tall fence.
Yep.
I have killed more dogs in The Witcher 3 than I've ever killed in all my previous video game history combined. I don't know what dogs did what to the people who made The Witcher, but they definitely want you to murder a lot of dead dogs. I've got enough dog tallow from here to last me until Rapture. The leveling system's awfully weird. All the quests that I have say that the minimum level for them is 3 levels above where I am, and yet I'm still able to do them, so I'm really confused about what they were thinking about doing there. And the aforementioned contempt for past choices. These are my complaints about The Witcher 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, as somebody who likes horse games, riding Roach around is fun because Roach is a horse.
Sure. Yeah. No, but seriously,
but no,
even for me,
I totally get that. I very much understand, because I also, in playing this past week, had frustrations with just getting her to go the way that I wanted her to go. And just, especially when I had to turn her around, oh my god, okay, come on, Roach, let's do this.
I was just more shocked at the foolishness of trying to ride Roach on non-roads, because the slightest elevation change, and your horse just goes to a dead stop.
Yeah, I tried bringing her through a river earlier, and that didn't pan out. She's just no, water too deep.
Now, the fact that she can teleport is great. I mean, that's definitely pro-horse activity. But when playing Red Dead Redemption 2, I could understand why horse aficionados would be willing to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and just ride around for a long time. It was kind of, it was, vaguely pleasant to ride around on a horse. Honestly, in The Witcher 3, I just run everywhere. In part because, you got to pick up that flower over there. You might need it someday.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
pick up all the flowers.
So, with all those complaints out of the way,
yeah,
I have zero difficulty understanding why The Witcher 3 is the cultural touchstone that it is. It is an amazing game. Absent those criticisms that I laid out rapid fire, it is spectacularly well done. And the amount of effort and polish and quality that screams through practically everything that happens and goes on in The Witcher 3 is amazing. I have played Cyberpunk, and one of the striking things about Cyberpunk is that every stupid little side quest has love and care heaped into it in terms of selling the city, selling the setting. And even if it is the case that structurally all you're doing is you're going to a place, killing some guys, picking up a MacGuffin, and then bringing it back to a client, there's some kind of story, there's some kind of thing going on there. And The Witcher 3 does that even more. There's something we talked about a lot, Caitlin, you and I, which is that sometimes in a game you got to get out of the hinterlands. Yeah. Which is to say, there's an opening area, and the real game doesn't start. The real plot-relevant stuff doesn't start until you hit some kind of magical threshold. Every single stupid little side quest that I've done in The Witcher 3 has been fascinating and full of character and consequence and narrative and texture. Consequently, I felt like I was never in anything remotely resembling the hinterlands. Just everything is so cool.
Yeah, I loved the way that even the monster contracts, they teach you about new creatures. They teach you the habits of these creatures. They teach you what happens to the poor bastards that live near these creatures. And I just found all of those so cool. Like I will track a random griffin or whatever forever because it's fun.
Another big weakness I felt about The Witcher as a property, and this applies to the television show and the first two Witcher games, is Geralt himself. Because my perception of him through those properties has just been that he's a 12-year-old boy's power fantasy with the biggest swords. He's got such a big sword. 2 swords. He's got 2 swords. They're so big. All the women want to bone him. They want to bone him so bad.
Oh, yeah.
He's got these cat eyes. He's got this long white hair, and he talks in a deep voice, and he doesn't do anything for free. It's all for money, and he's so cool. And there just wasn't much to him. The Witcher 3, 5 minutes into it, we see a new version of Geralt that I hadn't seen in any of those other properties, which is avuncular Geralt. Geralt bonding with Ciri.
Yeah.
With his adopted daughter. And it's like, oh, I like this guy. Where has this guy been the entire time?
Seriously, yeah.
In some of these side quests, we see why Geralt is a badass. It's not because he's got 2 swords and he's stronger and he bones all the chicks, although he does all those things too. It's because he's this is a bit of a stretch. He's a bit like Batman. He puts in the work, right? He's more a detective than he's a fighter. He's like, okay, I need this potion that I need to drink before the fight starts. I need to apply this kind of oil. I need to remember that this kind of thing is weak to this other kind of thing. It's like, okay, check my notes. All right, okay, cool. I think I'm ready. Now I go in with the swords. And that's just way more interesting than the version of Geralt that we've seen in past ones, where it's like, oh, this is a necker. The way I kill a necker is I just hit it with my sword. Oh, this is a drowner. The way I kill a drowner is I hit it with my sword.
Yep.
And so immediately in The Witcher 3, it's like it's a different character. I finally understand why people find him appealing.
Yeah, I mean, there was a quest that I found just endlessly interesting where you come across this completely, at least it looks abandoned village, and you know that there's some sort of ghost haunting the well, and
yeah, the first monster contract, it's brilliantly executed. It's so well done.
So good. Like learning through the quest what happened to all the townspeople, why there's this ghost, and why she's mad. You know, it's just amazing. Love it.
It's extraordinarily well done. They also are willing to make fun of Geralt in The Witcher 3.
Yes.
There was this beautiful scene, I've been telling everyone about it, where you meet a random hunter somewhere, and you need his help to go do something, and you encounter someone that the hunter knew earlier on in his life, and I was like, yeah, they kicked me out of the village because I'm a freak. And Geralt's like, yeah, they call me a freak too. They kick me out of villages. And the guy's like, yeah, the relationships I kept meant that and he basically lays out that he's gay. And then Geralt is like, what's your problem? Do you have lycanthropy? It's a pretty simple curse. I think I've got some herbs somewhere. It's like, no, Geralt, I don't have lycanthropy. That's not why they kicked me out of the village. I guffawed.
Yeah.
And again, it's at Geralt's expense, which I don't remember that kind of tone being prevalent in other kinds of Witcher contexts.
Yeah, like not everything's a monster story, Geralt.
Yeah, exactly. He's just this focused dude. He knows the one thing that he knows how to do, and he's very impressive at it, but he's also kind of weird.
Yeah.
And a little goofy in some ways. And the other thing that I love about that is that it's not just plot background. It all dovetails in with the way combat works. I'm sure if you're really good at the Twitch-based combat, you don't need to mess around with all this other stuff. And the interface isn't perfect, but it's good enough. Mm-hmm. And it really feels like you're rewarded for knowing what you're doing, putting in the necessary prep, having the right tools for the job, and knowing how to approach things in a slightly more robust way than I have a large sword, I'm going to hit it upside the head continuously. Although there's elements of that too.
Yeah, when I jumped into The Witcher 3 this last week, I resumed a New Game Plus that I'd started 3 years ago. I probably started it because of the Witcher TV show or something, when I was like, I want to play The Witcher again.
Sure.
I could not remember how to do anything. I think I redid this Shrieker quest probably 6 times before I managed to kill it. Because I did not remember any of the prep I was supposed to do, or, like, it was a mess. So, yeah.
The other thing that I find interesting about Geralt as a character, and this is something that I come to appreciate now a little bit. This was present in The Witcher 1 and 2, but it's very much in 3. This is a bit of a strange comparison, but he's very much like the Road Warrior in the Mad Max movies. There's this political situation. Mm-hmm. Various clans are fighting, or there's a war, what have you. There's this big dust-up, and Geralt and the Road Warrior don't care. That's not what they're there for. It's just not their business. Geralt wants to know if you've got a monster that you want him to kill, and the Road Warrior just wants to move along on his way. And then they try their best to stay out of things, but they get sucked into the main conflict.
They can never stay out of things.
They try, but they can't do it. And then the main conflict kind of chews them up and spits them out. And so there's this sort of long-suffering sort of, oh, here we go again, to so much that happens. Like, Geralt gets summoned by some noble, and he's like, oh, jeez, not this again. Like, I do remember, I don't have exclusively negative memories of the past Witcher games. I remember one scene during, like, the very beginning parts of The Witcher 2, where Witcher is following King Foltest around. And it's hilarious, because King Foltest is like, I am invincible and invulnerable on a war zone, and, like, a ballista lands 10 feet to his side. And Geralt's like, I think you should take some cover, idiot. And Foltest's like, I shall never die. And it was just really goofy and funny, and Geralt didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to tell a story through a protagonist who's so unengaged with what's going on around him, but sometimes it works. And I think in the context of The Witcher 3, Geralt's indifference to the political machinations that surround him is actually a pretty good dynamic. Geralt has been summoned by some noble to go do something, and his response is shrug. So, like, as far as the plot is concerned, I'm not terribly engaged by it yet. Although I will say, for what it's worth, The Witcher does do a reasonably good job of grappling with the terrible consequences of war. Like, the fact that there's an overarching war that's going on is, like, everyone talks about the many, many consequences that occur downstream of that, sometimes even literally. And as somebody who is a pacifist, and it's so easy for fiction to trivialize war, I do appreciate that.
Oh yeah, the first battlefield that you walk onto is pretty horrifying.
War is the worst, and it ruins everything.
Yep.
And so I do appreciate that The Witcher 3 presents that. And, you know, Geralt is largely indifferent to these things. He's like, yeah, so one banner flies over there, and another banner flies over there. Big fat deal. Okay, fine.
Yeah. I'm glad thousands of people died for this. Good job, guys.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm not yet terribly engaged by the plot. I'm more amused by Geralt's indifference to the plot.
Yeah.
Because there's the war, and then there are sorceresses who mess with him. Those are the two things that happen, right?
Yep.
And his attitude towards both is, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. This is how things are. Sorceresses mess with you. War exists.
Yeah. Must be a day that ends in Y, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it because he is shown to care about other things. He obviously cares about... Like, if he didn't care about anything, it'd be like, okay, like,
yeah.
Why should I be invested in you as a character? But he obviously cares about Ciri. He cares about I mean, okay, he cares about getting paid for it, but he does care about, helping these villages get rid of their monster problems.
And you're able to refuse payment in this one.
Yes,
Like,
I really like
there's
that.
a contract, but often you're allowed to refuse payment, which it was, I don't know, there's some big lore reason why Witchers always have to accept a contract for money. I don't know. That's one aspect of the Witcher lore that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Maybe I missed a Grimoire entry somewhere. I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But again, the Geralt of The Witcher 3 is imbued with so much more humanity than I've ever seen him, and it's manifested in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah, in 2016, I played Witcher 1, and then I played Witcher 2, then I played Witcher 3, and then I read a bunch of the books. I don't remember how many books. I'm sure that I know the answer to that somewhere deep in the recesses of my memory, but I do not have it handy.
Despite the fact my Geralt is perennially poor. Things are very expensive. I mean, I'm sure like every other action adventure RPG type of thing, I'm going to reach a tipping point and it's going to get trivial.
Yeah.
I'm confident that'll happen.
But
right now
sure.
I'm like, ooh, I have to repair all my stuff. Oh, that's so expensive.
I sure wish I didn't feel guilty about taking money from that guy who has to raise his child.
Yeah. It's like, oh, my kid's dying of a fever. I need you to kill the specter haunting the well so I can just give her water so she might not die. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but Papa's got bills to pay. Cool story, bro. Sign here.
One thing I am curious about is, where did you get to? Did you end up finishing like the Velen, like Bloody Baron storyline, or?
I am taking my sweet time.
Okay.
I'm like, over the course of the past week, I've played for like 12 hours. And I'm just taking my time.
Good.
Because I'm loving all of it.
Good.
Well, except for the horse riding. I'm wandering around. I'm preparing in my head, like the headcanon version of how Geralt is going to kick Yennefer to the curb. And that's effectively me rejecting CD Projekt Red's trying to force her down my throat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I haven't even encountered Triss again. But it's like, Triss, I know her. I remember her. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I also romanced Triss in my first playthroughs. And after reading the books and stuff, I wanted to make this the playthrough that I started in 2022 and never finished. That was my Yennefer romance playthrough. So I basically have not romanced Yennefer at all because I don't think I even met her yet in where I'm at in that playthrough, but that's okay.
So do you enjoy the books? I know a number of Witcher fans who swear by the fiction and say it's great.
I did enjoy it. I found parts of it a little confusing at first, and I honestly cannot even remember enough details, but I did enjoy them. I have no idea where I'm at in the series, and I've always intended to actually read all of them, but I'm somewhere between 3 and 7. But they were fun enough. I really liked getting to see more of, Ciri when she was younger and Geralt. And I love Ciri so much. I think she's wonderful. I love seeing Geralt in dad mode. I'm just extra excited for Witcher 4, where I get to play as Ciri all the time.
It is going to be very strange for Geralt to be around an attractive woman that he's not trying to bone.
Yes.
So there's that.
It is a nice change of pace, although, there's people out there in the internet that are degenerates.
Stop, we're done with that. No, don't want to hear it. I'm not shocked, but I don't want to hear it.
But don't want to know.
Yeah, so as I say, I'm just having a great time with The Witcher. I understand why people have put in so many hours. Like, I think I saw somebody on Reddit who had over 1,000 hours put into it. I understand that the DLCs are wonderful. I am very much looking forward to the comic opportunities of Geralt, accidental winery owner.
Yes.
Based on what little I know about the DLC, it looks like the game understands how ridiculous that is, and I love it when the game makes fun of Geralt. I'm all over that.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to Geralt, small business owner, and the travails therein. And it's just great. Like, one of the reasons why I wanted to start the podcast is to play all these games that were on other people's best of all time lists.
Yeah.
And have the discipline to actually start them. And The Witcher was absolutely one of the very last on that short list. and I am pleased to say, very much like Chrono Trigger before it, I am not disappointed. And it's an extraordinary experience, and I understand where people are coming from. It's not perfect, as I said. I had my gripes, and indeed, tonally, it's overwhelmingly white. Its presentation of women is spotty at best. Some of them get to be simultaneously sex objects as well as fully fleshed out characters, right? And that's fine, whatever. I'm not a prude about those things, but sometimes they go way off the other end of it. The bandwidth in The Witcher for non-white, non-men is limited, clearly. They exhaust it all with a couple of hot sorceresses. So, that's not great. But they did manage to make me care about Geralt, which, quite frankly, before I started The Witcher 3, I would have sworn would be borderline impossible.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that Witcher 3, like you said, definitely not perfect. But compared to Witcher 1, where it felt like a collect all the naked ladies pictures.
Oh, yeah, jeez.
There's a gap, and it's a sizable one.
Well, and if we're going to be specific in comparing the games, I think this is a good way to sort of explain how they've made the right choices in terms of gameplay complexity. I remember in The Witcher 1, there were like 3 different fighting styles, but there was only ever one correct answer to a given fight.
Yes.
And you could switch between the 2 swords. Then in The Witcher 2, you could switch between the 2 swords. But for example, I was never entirely sure whether I was supposed to be using a silver sword or a steel sword against like drowners, or maybe like mad dog, like wargs. Is a warg a monster, or is a warg... Anyway... in The Witcher 3, there's a lot of complexity there. You can craft your own armor, you can craft your own alchemy, you can apply oils, you can do blah, 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 build your own bombs, a whole bunch of different stuff. But when a monster shows up, Geralt just draws the sword he's supposed to be using.
Yes, thank you.
And so, the first time I was fighting something that was monsters, like, oh, by the way, they have a different color life bar, and also Geralt just knows which sword to draw. I'm like, okay, good, thank you. Way to put the complexity where it belongs, game, instead of, oh, there's a right answer, but we're going to make sure you have to toggle it manually.
Yeah,
no.
Geralt is a seasoned monster hunter. He should automatically know which sword to grab.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, yeah, I guess final complaint about The Witcher 3?
Oh, yes.
Look, CD Projekt Red, I know you're very pleased with yourselves, but you have basically 2 games that people play. You don't get to have your own launcher. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Back off.
Yeah, I don't know when that started, because I think it's new. At least it's new to me. Because when I hit play on Witcher 3 and the launcher came up, I was like, what the heck is this?
They get to think that they get to have 3 tabs for their launcher. One for Cyberpunk, one for The Witcher 3, and one for The Witcher 4. So you can go check out the demo.
That's not a real game yet, guys.
I know. Calm down, boys. Calm down.
Plus, I will launch it from Steam, which is where I want to launch most of my games from that I'm playing.
All right, so that's The Witcher 3.
Yeah. I'm very, very happy, very pleased that you're enjoying it.
My expectation is that I'm going to be playing The Witcher 3 for months and enjoying it.
Yes, I'm dying to hear about your thoughts when you hit, the major story beats.
We're not going to close things out as we always do with some shameless hyping of upcoming titles, aka shout. What would you like to shout out for us, Caitlin?
I'm going to shout out Guild Wars Reforged. I played the original Guild Wars a million years ago. I don't remember when it came out. It was a long time ago. I never finished it.
You're a Guild Wars person.
Well, I had it and I played some, but I never hit max level or anything.
Okay, so you smoked, but you didn't inhale.
Yeah.
Got it.
But Guild Wars Reforged, I believe, is coming out in early December, or information about it is coming out in early December. And I'm very excited to have a second chance to try out Guild Wars, hopefully with some friends, because I didn't really have anybody to play with when I originally played Guild Wars other than my husband, and I wanted more people to play with. So hopefully that will happen with Guild Wars Reforged.
Don't you get kicked out of your Final Fantasy guild for talking about such things?
Not yet.
I'll keep it on the down low. I won't tell anyone.
Okay, thank you.
All right, this is a bit of a cheat. I'm once again going to shout out Terminator 2 No Fate, because it keeps getting delayed.
No.
It has been delayed so many times. I'm accustomed to delays. Do you know what these recent round of delays have been prompted by, Caitlin? Tariffs over the physical edition. Come on, guys.
Come on.
You could just hit a button and let me download the sucker through Steam, and you could have done that weeks ago.
Oh.
I don't care that some collector's edition with a doodad, a special bookmark, a body pillow, and some sort of bookend is being delayed because you're trying to find a way to route it through Thailand instead of Vietnam or whatever the heck, so that you can not have your profits eviscerated by trade war policies. I want my game. Look, the internet is for one thing, and one thing only, and that is for gamers to complain about how the consumer products that they want aren't available on their terms immediately, and thus I invoke my internet privileges to do the same.
Yeah, I thought that a lot of games nowadays also were... Okay, and I have mixed feelings about this practice, but I had a sense that a lot of games nowadays are releasing collector's editions that don't actually include the game, so you can just have a digital code and play it when it comes out, and then you can get the collector's edition later. Like, who cares? I kind of like that.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. It's a little frustrating to spend a whole bunch of money on a collector's edition and not get the game with it. I understand. But still, I much prefer that method.
I'm going to partially blame you. I believe in my entire history of video game consumerism, I have purchased a collector's edition 0 times.
Aha.
And part of this is because I don't know before I play a game whether I want like a whole bunch of merch for that game. How many collector's editions do you have, Caitlin?
I could not tell you because it's more than 5.
Yeah, you're part of the problem. You're why I didn't get episodes 9 and 10 of Dispatch, and you're why I can't have my Terminator 2 No Fate yet.
Okay.
Okay, that was a bit... I apologize, Caitlin. Even as a jest, even as hyperbole, that was a little too far. I know you're not responsible.
Thank you. Just a little.
Okay, but just let me ask.
Yes.
A game comes out, all right? Have you ever purchased the collector's edition of a game that was not the latest installment of a series that you know you love? In other words, it was either a new series or a series you haven't tried yet. Have you ever purchased a collector's edition of something like that?
Okay, well, I got, the collector's edition for The Last Guardian, but that's because I loved Shadow of the Colossus, and...
Sure.
I was like, also, honestly, I was just excited that The Last Guardian wasn't vaporware.
I hear you, yeah.
But I'm trying to think. I think generally when I do buy a collector's edition, it's because I have an extremely high level of confidence that I will enjoy it because it's from a, developer that I usually love, or I'm sure, honestly, that I have bought one that is not any of these things, but I can't recall any specifics off the top of my head. Everything I can think of has decent reasoning.
Fair enough. And to be entirely fair, if there were ever a Macross video game with a collector's edition that I could get, I would probably be seriously tempted. That'll just have to remain a hypothetical.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us for All My Best Friends Are Digital. If you're interested in supporting us, you can check us out on patreon.com/amfad. But in any case, thank you so much for spending the time. We really appreciate you joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. Please do take care of yourselves, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, you can reach us at allmybestfriendsaredigital@gmail.com. Hope to see you again soon.